What if I told you that the most attractive older men aren't using complicated pickup lines or trying to act younger than they are, but instead, they're using specific words and phrases that trigger something deep in a woman's psychology that most younger guys completely miss? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change how you see attraction forever.
Picture this scenario.
You're at a social gathering, maybe a dinner party or a networking event. There's a man there, maybe in his late 40s or early 50s. He's not the loudest person in the room. He's not trying to dominate every conversation. He's not bragging about his accomplishments or showing off. But somehow, the women around him are leaning in when he speaks. They're laughing genuinely at his observations. They're seeking him out for conversation. And you're watching this thinking, what does he have that creates this kind of magnetic pull? Here's what most people don't realize. Mature men who understand attraction aren't winning with their looks, their money, or even their status. They're winning with their language. The specific words they choose activate emotional and psychological triggers that create deep, lasting attraction. And the fascinating part? Most of them aren't even doing it consciously. They've simply learned through experience what works, and they've internalized a communication style that bypasses all the games and connects directly with what women actually respond to. Before we dive into the specific words and phrases, you need to understand something crucial about female attraction psychology. Women aren't primarily attracted to what you say about yourself. They're attracted to how you make them feel about themselves when they're around you. This is the fundamental shift that happens as men mature. Younger guys are still operating from a place of, look at me, look at what I have, look at what I can do. They're performing. They're proving. They're trying to impress. Mature men who truly understand attraction have shifted to a completely different paradigm. They've moved from proving their value to recognizing and elevating the value in others. And this shift is reflected in every word they choose. Psychologists call this other-focused communication, and research in interpersonal attraction shows it's one of the most powerful tools for creating genuine connection and desire. But here's where it gets interesting. The first category of words that attractive older men use are what I call recognition words. These are phrases like, I noticed that. What I appreciate about you is, you have a way of, there's something about how you. Let me give you a real example. Imagine a woman mentions she's been stressed about a work project. A younger guy might respond with, yeah, work is tough. I'm dealing with a lot too. Let me tell you about my situation. He's made it about himself. An attractive older man? He might say, I notice you light up when you talk about the creative aspects of your work, even when you're stressed. That says something about your passion. Do you see the difference? He's not fixing her problem. He's not one-upping her stress. He's recognizing something specific about who she is and reflecting it back to her in a way that makes her feel seen. And here's the psychological principle at work. When someone feels genuinely seen and recognized for their unique qualities, they experience what psychologists call validation at the identity level. This creates a deep emotional bond because it satisfies one of our most fundamental human needs, the need to be understood. Women experience this and think, he gets me in a way most people don't. That's not attraction based on superficial qualities. That's attraction based on emotional resonance. But that's not even the most powerful category of words they use. The second category is what I call invitation words. These are phrases that create space for genuine connection. Tell me more about, what's the story behind, I'm curious about, help me understand. Here's why these are so psychologically powerful. Most conversations, especially in dating contexts, are actually parallel monologues. Two people taking turns talking about themselves, waiting for their turn to speak, not really listening deeply. When a man uses invitation words, he's doing something radically different. He's creating genuine curiosity about her inner world. He's positioning himself as someone who values her thoughts, experiences, and perspectives. Let me paint you a picture of how this looks in real life. A woman mentions she recently traveled somewhere. The average response might be, oh cool, I've been there too, followed by a story about his own trip. An attractive older man might say, what drew you to that particular place? I'm curious what you were looking for when you decided to go there. Notice the difference? He's not competing with his own travel stories. He's inviting her deeper into her own experience. He's creating space for her to share something meaningful. And psychologically, this triggers what's called the disclosure liking effect. When people share personal information and feel heard, they develop positive feelings toward the person who created that safe space for sharing. But here's where it gets even more interesting. These invitation words also reveal something crucial about his own confidence. See, when a man can comfortably center a conversation around a woman's experiences without feeling the need to constantly redirect attention to himself, it demonstrates a level of self-assurance that's incredibly attractive. He's not trying to prove anything. He's secure enough to be genuinely interested in someone else. This brings us to the third category, certainty words. These are phrases like, "I've learned that, in my experience, what I know to be true is, I'm clear about." Now, you might be thinking these sound like he's talking about himself.
And you're right.
But here's the nuance that makes all the difference. When mature men use certainty words, they're not bragging. They're not performing. They're simply stating their truth from a place of lived experience. For example, imagine a conversation about relationships. A younger guy trying to impress might say, "I'm not like other guys. I'm different. I really respect women." An attractive older man might say, "I've learned that the best relationships happen when both people feel free to be completely themselves. That's what I'm looking for." See the shift? He's not claiming to be different or special. He's stating his values clearly based on his own learning and experience. There's no defensiveness, no proving, no comparing himself to others. This certainty is deeply attractive because it signals emotional maturity. It says, "I know who I am. I know what I want. I'm not confused or conflicted." And psychologically, certainty is one of the most attractive qualities because it creates a sense of safety and stability. Women can relax around men who are clear about themselves because there's no guessing, no games, no trying to figure out who he really is. But there's one more category of words that might be the most powerful of all. The fourth category is what I call boundary words. These include phrases like, "That doesn't work for me. I'm not available for. What I need is, I choose to." Now here's where things get psychologically fascinating. You'd think that setting boundaries would push people away, right? That being agreeable and accommodating would be more attractive? Actually, the opposite is true. When a man can clearly and kindly state his boundaries, it demonstrates self-respect. And self-respect is magnetically attractive because it signals that he values himself enough to have standards. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine a woman suggests meeting up, but proposes a time that genuinely doesn't work for him. A people-pleasing response would be, "Yeah, sure, I can make that work," even if it means rearranging his whole day. An attractive older man might say, "I appreciate you suggesting that, but that time doesn't work for my schedule. I'm free Thursday evening or Saturday afternoon. Would either of those work for you?" He's being respectful of her suggestion while also respecting his own needs. He's not bending himself into a pretzel to accommodate. He's offering alternatives from a place of clarity. And here's the psychological principle. When someone demonstrates healthy boundaries, it actually increases their perceived value. It signals that their time and energy are valuable, which makes spending time with them feel more meaningful and special. Women respond to this because it indicates emotional health. A man who can't set boundaries is often insecure, seeking validation, or afraid of disappointing people. A man who can set them clearly and kindly is someone who knows his worth. And this connects to something even deeper about how attraction actually works. The fifth category of words is what I call presence phrases. These are statements that bring the interaction into the present moment. Right now, I'm noticing, in this moment, what's happening here is I'm feeling. Here's why this matters psychologically. Most people spend conversations either in the past, telling stories, explaining history, or in the future, making plans, discussing possibilities. Very few people actually occupy the present moment during an interaction. When a man uses presence phrases, something magical happens. The interaction becomes more real, more immediate, more emotionally alive. Imagine you're having a conversation with someone, and there's a moment of genuine laughter or connection. Most people would just move on to the next topic. An attractive older man might pause and say, I'm really enjoying this conversation. There's an ease between us that feels rare. By naming what's happening in the present moment, he's doing two powerful things. First, he's demonstrating emotional awareness. He's tuned in not just to what's being said, but to the emotional quality of the interaction itself. Second, he's creating intimacy. When you acknowledge a shared experience in real time, it deepens the connection because both people become conscious participants in creating something meaningful together. Psychologists call this metacommunication, communication about the communication itself. And research shows it's one of the fastest ways to create emotional intimacy. Now, I want you to think about your own experiences for a moment. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone where you felt truly seen, heard, and appreciated? Where the person wasn't just waiting for their turn to talk, but was genuinely interested in understanding you? How did that feel? Chances are, it felt amazing. Chances are, you walked away from that interaction feeling energized, valued, and more positive about yourself. That's exactly what these words create. And here's what's important to understand. This isn't manipulation. This isn't some trick or technique to get something from someone. Attractive older men use these words because they've learned something fundamental about human connection. They've learned that the best relationships, romantic or otherwise, happen when both people feel valued, seen, and appreciated. They've moved beyond the ego-driven conversations of youth into something more mature. Genuine interest in others, clear communication of their own needs and values, and the confidence to be present and authentic. But here's what I find most interesting about all of this. These words aren't just attractive because of what they communicate about the woman. They're attractive because of what they reveal about the man using them. Think about it. A man who can recognize and appreciate specific qualities in others has developed observational skills and emotional intelligence. A man who can invite others deeper into conversation has overcome the self-centered focus that dominates so much of modern dating. A man who can speak with certainty about his values and experiences has done the internal work to know himself. A man who can set boundaries clearly has developed self-respect and emotional maturity. A man who can be present in the moment has cultivated awareness and authenticity. These aren't surface-level qualities. These are the results of years of life experience, growth, reflection, and learning. And that's ultimately what makes older men attractive when they embody these qualities. It's not about age itself. It's about the wisdom, maturity, and self-knowledge that can come with age when a man has been paying attention and growing. So let me ask you something. In your own relationships and interactions, which of these word categories do you naturally use? And which ones could you develop more intentionally? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Here's the ultimate truth about attraction that these words reveal. Attraction isn't really about words at all. Words are just the vehicle for something deeper, the quality of presence, attention, and emotional intelligence you bring to your interactions. You could memorize every phrase I've shared today, but if you're using them as techniques without genuine interest in the other person, they'll fall flat. People can feel the difference between authentic curiosity and performative interest. The real power comes when these words reflect your actual internal state, when you're genuinely curious about people, when you actually value connection over validation, when you're secure enough to set boundaries and confident enough to be present. That's when language becomes magnetic. That's when conversations create genuine attraction. And the beautiful thing? This is available to anyone willing to do the internal work. It's not about being older. It's about being more conscious, more emotionally developed, more genuinely interested in others. The men who attract quality women aren't the ones with the best lines. They're the ones who've developed themselves into people worth connecting with. If this resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button so I know you found value in this. It helps more people discover these insights about attraction and relationship psychology. And if you want more content breaking down the hidden psychology of dating, attraction, and human behavior, subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm releasing new videos every week that go deep into what really makes relationships work. Most importantly, drop a comment below and tell me, what's one thing you learned today that you're going to apply in your own life? Or share an experience where you've noticed these communication patterns in action. I read every comment, and I love hearing your perspectives and stories. Remember, attraction is a skill that can be developed. It starts with understanding the psychology, but it flourishes when you do the internal work to become someone who genuinely embodies these qualities. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.